It's recording at 2 hours. We're at the Bethel Sabbath Day Church at 118 Cheney Avenue in Jacksonville, North Carolina. I'm filling in, during the beginning of Shabbat. Brother Ron is at a graduation with some of his family. So we're going to go from there and start to see if anybody got anything to say. Brother King or Sister Sue.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Sister Sue, you got anything to say before we start?
It's a beautiful day today. Got to see Bishop and Brother Richard yesterday when we got here, so that was good. And I will read Isaiah 66 for the Shabbat verse. 66, 21 to 24. And I will also take of them for priests and for Levites, saith Elohim. For as the new heavens and the new earth which I will make shall remain before me, saith Elohim, so shall your seed and your name remain. And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Shabbat to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, saith Elohim. And they shall go forth and look upon the carcasses of the men that have transgressed against me. For their worm shall not die, neither shall their fire be quenched, and they shall be an abhorring unto all flesh.
Hallelujah.
Okay. Okay. All praise the Most High through Christ. Glad we're here on another Shabbat. Give all glory to Yah, Yahushua Mashiach, and fellowship, and hopefully learn a thing or two while we're here. All glory to Yah, Yahushua Mashiach. We have a Barak Shabbat. Nobody else got anything further to say. Guess we'll start the lesson in honor of feast days, because the Passover just happened not too long ago. Now we're coming into the Feast of Weeks, aka First Fruits, aka Pentecost. So we're gonna talk about that, about the upcoming feast day that's coming up next week. And that's what we'll talk about. The history of it and, some little new things about it, hopefully. And what it's about and the purpose of it and whatnot. So I guess that's what we'll start doing. Lesson gonna be over the Feast of Weeks. That's gonna be next week, next Shabbat. Start that, and that's gonna be until I think the first. I think it's gonna start on the 8th or the 9th, whatever the Shabbat is. What it's gonna be. It's gonna start. Let me get the exact.
Brother Fabian, on my calendar it says the 8th to the 10th.
Yeah. Yeah, the 8th to the 10th. So just keep in mind, everybody, the Feast of Weeks is next week, and that's coming from the Passover, because all of them, the Feast of Week and the Passover, hold a purpose, and we're going to talk about that. The Passover prepares you for the Feast of Weeks. So, all right, with no further matter, we're going to go into the scripture and go from there. All to start in Exodus chapter 23, 14 to 19. We're going to start talking about the feast days and how they came to be, and then go in more detail as we proceed in the lesson. So we're going to start in Exodus chapter 23, 14 to 19. 3 times thou shalt keep a feast unto me in the year. Thou shalt keep the feast of unleavened bread, which was the Passover that we just did not too long ago. Thou shalt eat unleavened bread 7 days, as I command thee, in the time appointed of the month of Abib. For in it thou camest out from Egypt, and none shall appear before me empty. And and that's preparing you spiritually to get all the evil and sin out of you, the bitterness. That's why the unleavened bread was supposed to be there. It's a symbolizing of getting that unnecessary evil out of you. 16. And the feast of harvest, which is the first fruits, Pentecost, Feast of Weeks, and the feast of harvest, the first fruits of thy labor, which thou hast sown in the field, and the first of ingathering, which is in the end of the year, when thou hast gathered in thy labors out of thy field. 3 times in the year all thy males shall appear before Elohim. Thou shalt not offer the blood of my sacrifice with leavened bread, neither shall the fat of my sacrifice remain until the morning. And this is a symbolizing, neither shall you give anything to me with that leaven in you, because during the feast of unleavened bread, you're supposed to be getting that out of you, preparing yourself for the next stage, which is the harvest. So you take all the bad things out first to get yourself ready, to make yourself presentable to the Most High as something that's not sinful, and He can take hold of. 18. Thou shalt not suffer the blood of my sacrifice with leavened bread, neither shall the fat of my sacrifice remain until the morning. The first of the first fruits of thy land thou shalt bring into the house of Elohim thy Yah. Thou shalt not see it a bull, see it means bull, a kid, a goat, in his mother's milk. So at this particular time, you're not supposed to, for whatever reason why they were doing that, or if anybody was doing it, not supposed to boil it in this, the goat in this mother's milk. Now we'll go to verse 20 to 23. Not 23, I mean 34. Chapter 34 in Exodus. 22 to 26. 34, 22 to 26. Talking about the feast of first fruits. 22 to 26. And thou shalt observe the feast of weeks, of the first fruits of wheat harvest, and the feast of ingathering at the year's end. Thrice in the year, 3 times in the year shall your man children appear before Elohim, Yah of Israel. For I will cast out the nations before thee, and enlarge thy borders, neither shall any man desire thy land. When thou shalt go up to appear before Yah thy Elohim thrice, 3 times in the year, thou shalt not offer the blood of my sacrifice with leaven, because the unleavened bread, the feast day of Passover, was supposed to get all that leaven out of you, so to put you in the mind state of that spiritual leaven. And obviously it was the physical leaven at this particular time too. Thou shalt not offer the blood of my sacrifice with leaven, neither shall the sacrifice of the feast of the Passover be left unto the morning. The first of the first fruits of thy land thou shalt bring unto the house of Yah thy Elohim, thou shalt not see it, the kid in his mother's milk. Okay, now we're going to go to Deuteronomy chapter 16, verse 10 to 12. Deuteronomy chapter 16. 10 to 12. Deuteronomy chapter 16, verse 10 to 12. And thou shalt keep the feast of weeks unto Elohim thy Yah with a tribute of free will offering of thine hand, which thou shalt give unto Elohim thy Yah according as Yah thy Elohim has blessed thee. So this is a time, where, a time of you see somebody in the truth, say you want to do something kind for them, or you see somebody in the truth out there, and you want to help them out with something, take them out to dinner or something, because obviously we can't go to the temple, quote unquote, and add a goat for Yah, so we do things in our temple for Yah, show kindness and whatnot. So that's just an example of that. There's many things you can do. Put an extra offering in the offering. This is only a free will offering. This is not something that's saying 10% or 20%. This is a gift that you are honoring the Most High in giving because of the harvest, which thou shalt give unto Yah thy Elohim according to Yah thy Elohim hath blessed thee. And thou shalt rejoice before Yah thy Elohim. So this is a time of, to make sure you're in mind, I'm thankful for the Most High blessing me with this, and I want to share the joy. It's not something that I'm being made to do this. This is a free will offering. And thou shalt rejoice before Yah thy Elohim, thou and thy son, and thy daughter, and thy manservant, and thy maidservant, and the Levite that is within thy gates, and the stranger, and the fatherless, and the widow that are among you in the place which Yah thy Elohim hath chosen to place his name there. And thou shalt remember that thou wast a bondman in Egypt, and thou shalt observe and do these statutes. So, it goes back to that remembering the affliction of how you was in Egypt too, because you didn't have no first fruits while you was in Egypt. You know what I'm saying? You was doing a hard time in Egypt. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't as bountiful because Most High delivering them and talking about delivering them into the land of milk and honey and all this stuff, and showing them the blessing that He bestowed upon them. They went from living in the projects to living grand. You know what I'm saying?
And they went living in cells. Prison cells to living grand.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? They was doing pretty. Some people call the projects a prison cell. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? Just something bad. You went from a low state, and the Most High brought you to a fruitful state. So we should be in the mind state, because we went through the Passover and we got into leaven out, and we understand why with the bitterness of Egypt, and now we're in this joyful state that, hey, the Most High has done these things for us and taken us from this and has increased us in all areas, and it's just a time for joy, and now we're going to go to, so it's something that we must observe. It's like in verse 12 say, and thou shalt remember that thou was a bondman in Egypt, and thou shalt observe and do these statutes. And unfortunately in these, a lot of these churches and whatnot and congregations, they just not teaching this, and they not even remembering the affliction when they were in Egypt. And that's why the scripture said, that's why it's saying, if you don't know your history, you're bound to repeat the same mistakes over and over and over and over, And you know, you got people right now, why am I going through this job? Why? You don't even remember, you know, your even history. So you don't know where you're going. You all over the place. Now we're going to go to Deuteronomy 16, verse 13 to 17.
Well, already at Deuteronomy 16.
Huh?
We're already
Mm-hmm.
13 to 16.
Mm-hmm. Verse 13 to 17. 3 times in a year shall all thy males appear before Yah thy Elohim, in the place which he shall choose, in the feast of unleavened bread, and in the feast of weeks, and in the feast of tabernacles, and they shall not appear before Elohim empty. So the Most High is making sure, man, when you come here, because I have blessed you, I have given you bountiful increases in various, each one to each level. You know, don't come to the Most High empty-handed, like you know, like you ain't got nothing, like you ain't got nothing. Like it's been a bad year, y'all. You lying? Y'all say you lying. You know what I'm saying? And even with the woman, but the woman who put the penny would be probably like 1/4 of a penny. She said, man, that's all I got, man. And Yahusha said, man, she gave more than all. Because, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's something. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's the intent right there. And trust me, you know, y'all look favorable on that stuff. So, even if you got a penny, you know, you ain't supposed to come to y'all empty-handed, man. Come on, man. Every man shall give as he is able. Just like that woman, she was only able to give 1 mite, and that's what she gave. And that's less than a penny, what she gave it. You know you got less than a penny, man. That's all I got, man. Every man shall give as he is able, according to the blessings of Yah thy Elohim, which he hath given thee. Now, obviously, the more Yah give to you, the more Yah is expecting. If it's on a small level, the Most High is understanding that, and if it's on a big level, the Most High is understanding that. So don't come with a mic if the Most High gave you $1 million this year. You know what I'm saying? Like it's free will. It's free will. You know what I'm saying? Well, next year, you know what I'm saying, you're gonna have such a blessed year. Okay. That's right. All right. Now we're gonna go to Isaiah chapter 50, verse 1. So the Most High doing you good. It's good to honor the Most High right back. That's only the righteous thing to do. Isaiah chapter 50, verse 1. Thus said Yah. And so I'm going to here right here because it came to a point where the Most High divorced Israel. You know, so the feast days got put a hold, and I'm bringing this out to show. Even though the Most High divorced Israel, because the Most High was like, man, I'm done with your whoring, I'm done with you. You know, the Most High literally gave Israel a bill of divorcement. So you know what I'm saying? I'm not listening to your prayers. I'm not doing nothing. Don't do anything to me. You know, y'all done crossed the line. So obviously from Deuteronomy to Isaiah, there's been some marital problems. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
There's been a lot of marital problems here. So, all right. Verse 50, chapter 50, verse 1. Thus said Yah, where is the bill of your mother's divorcement, whom I have put away? Or which of my creditors is it to whom I have sold you? Behold, for your iniquities have ye sold yourselves, and for your transgressions is your mother put away. So, I'm bringing this up to show a point here. Obviously, Israel you know what I'm saying, we don't have our husbandman over us no more. So we're going to go to Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 8. Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 8. This is to precept with Isaiah chapter 50 and 1. And I saw, this is Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 8. And I saw when for all the causes whereby backsliding Israel committed adultery. I had put her away and given her a bill of divorce. Yet her treacherous sister Judah feared not, but went and played the harlot also. So Yah split the kingdom after Solomon. It was so bad. He was like, man, I gotta separate y'all because y'all just is gonna be horrible. So he made southern kingdom and the northern kingdom, and Judah was over the southern kingdom with Levi and another tribe.
Right.
So the Most High was counting on the southern tribe to behave themselves more becomingly than the northern kingdom. But Judah went a whoring too. They went just like the northern kingdom. You know what I'm saying? They went on the whole train. And so the Most High is just expressing his disdainment for that. But this is just to further point at this particular time, the Most High is not dealing with Israel, southern or northern kingdom right now. Now we're going to go to the book of Tobit in the Apocrypha to show you something here, though. This was the point. No, Hosea. Go to Hosea first. We're going to go to Hosea chapter 5 and chapter 6, but Hosea 5 and 15. And then we're going to go to Tobit. Hosea chapter 5, which is one of my favorite verses. Hosea chapter 5, 15. Hosea chapter 5, 15. Remember, the Most High put Israel away, the southern and northern kingdom. Verse 15. I will go and return to my place, till they acknowledge their offense, and seek my face. In their afflictions, they will seek me early. Chapter 6, verse 1 to 11. Come, and this is Israel talking after they heard they afflicted, you know what I'm saying? Come, and let us return unto Yah, for he hath tore, and he will heal us. He hath smitten, and he will bind us up. After 2 days will he revive us. In the third day he will raise us up, and we shall live in his sight. Then shall we know, if we follow on to know Elohim. His going forth is prepared as the morning, and he shall come unto us as the rain, and the latter, and former, and rain, a former rain unto the earth. O Ephraim, what shall I do unto thee? O Judah, what shall I do unto thee? For your goodness is as a morning cloud, and as the early dew it goeth away. Therefore have I hewed them by the prophets. I have slain them by the words of my mouth, and thy judgments are as the light that goeth forth. On a hot day, that light just, oh man, it's only 12 o'clock. For I desired mercy and not sacrifice, and the knowledge of Yah more than burnt offerings. But they, like men, have transgressed the covenant. There have they dealt treacherously among me. Gilead is a city of them that work iniquity, and polluted with blood. And as troops of robbers wait for a man, so the company of priests murder in the way by consent, for they commit lewdness. So a lot of, these interceded projects, man, it's the same thing that was going on, all that murder.
Well, ain't nothing new under the sun.
Ain't nothing new under the sun. They just got phones to take pictures of it and post it now, you know what I'm saying? I have seen a horrible thing in the house of Israel. There is the whoredom of Ephraim. Israel is defiled. And also, O Judah, he hath sent a harvest for thee when I return the captivity of my people. Okay, so we get this, how the Most High was just letting them know, hey man, if you return to me, seek me early, everything's gonna be good. And in chapter 6, 1 to 11, mainly chapter 1, they were saying, hey, let us come back to the Most High, for he has torn, and he will heal. But I'm bringing you to Tobit chapter 2 in the Apocrypha. Tobit chapter 2 in the Apocrypha, 1 to 2. Tobit, T-O-B-I-T. To show you, even when the Most High, because the divorcement is still taking place right here.
Tobit 1 and 2.
This is Tobit chapter 2, verse 1 to 2. Because at this particular time in the book of Tobit, the divorcement is still at hand. You know what I'm saying? The adoption back in didn't come until Yahushua Mashiach came back. So up until then, you know, Israel was without a husbandman. This is Tobit chapter 2, verse 1 to 2. Now, when I was come home again, and my wife Anna was restored unto me with my son Tobias in the feast of Pentecost. So right now they're in the first fruits, the feast of weeks, which is the holy feast of the 7 weeks. There was a good dinner prepared me, in the which I sat down to eat. And when I saw abundance of meat, I said to my son, go and bring what poor man soever thou shalt find out of our brethren, who is mindful of Yah, and lo, I tarry for thee. So, right here, Tobiah, even though they're in the state of divorcement, they don't have the Most High. The Most High just look and see which way they're going to go, you know what I'm saying? And he see what the Most High has blessed him with. He say, man, I'm going to give some of this first fruits to a brother who's in the truth, who know the Most High, not just somebody, first person he see. Now, you could just invite a pig over to your house and they going to eat all your first fruits and cakes and pies, and you invited the wrong one to your house, you know what I'm saying? So he say he invited one that was mindful of the Most High, and he shared his first fruits with that person, but even in the time of the divorcement. So I just wanted to point that out. So, just because the Most High, quote unquote, left you, don't mean, you ain't got to show, reverence, because it was somehow, some way, it was your fault. So, you know what I'm saying? I didn't do you wrong, you did me wrong. And now I afflicted you. So, now we're going to go.
Now you notice the wrong.
That's right, you know what I'm saying? That's why I say in Hosea chapter 6, verse 1, he hath torn, but he was mend. So, they like, man, we tired of these afflictions.
You ain't tired of nothing, because it's 600 years, 400 years later, and they still going on today.
Most of them ain't tired of it, but just a remnant tired of it, you know what I'm saying? Like Tobiah right here is just a remnant, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, just a remnant. Most
of them gonna die, you know what I'm saying? So most of them just a whore, no good, just gonna die, you know. Exodus chapter 23. Exodus chapter 23, 20 to 23. And we're gonna see the powerful manifestation of Yah power during this time of the feast of weeks. So in this particular time, above this in 23:14 we read 14 to 19 was talking about the 3 times that you appear, the Passover, the Feast of Weeks, and the Tabernacle. But right after this, something very special is displayed right here after this reading in verse 20 to 23. Behold, I send an angel before thee to keep thee in the way, and to bring thee into the place which I prepare you. So I prepared you. So some very powerful blessing is about to take place right after the Feast of Pentecost and also the tabernacle right here. A miracle is about to take place. A powerful presence is about to be released at this particular time. Beware of him and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. But if thou shalt indeed obey his voice, and do all that I speak, then I will be an enemy unto thine enemies, and an adversary unto thine adversary. For mine angel, which is Yahushua HaMashiach here, for mine angel shall go before thee, and bring thee in unto the Amorites, and the Hittites, and the Perizzites, and the Canaanites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, and I will cut them off. See right here, we're going to see the shadow of what came, because this is almost in representation of the Ruach HaKodesh when it came in the book of Acts, and we're going to see how this is playing out. Because as in the book of Acts also, it says, beware of him. What happened when Priscilla and her husband, they wouldn't like that. They lied to the Ruach HaKodesh. What happened? They both died.
They were dead on the spot.
And right here, this powerful presence of holiness is here. And the scripture saying 21, beware of him and obey his voice. What does the scripture say about the Holy Spirit? Listen to the Holy Spirit. You know what I'm saying? And right here it's saying, beware of him and obey his voice. Provoke him not. Priscilla and her husband, they provoked the Holy Spirit and they both died. For he will not pardon your transgressions. Their transgressions weren't pardoned. For my name is in him. My name is in the Ruach HaKodesh. See right here, now we're going to go to Acts chapter 1. I just wanted to point that out because the Holy Spirit is basically right here too, right after the Feast of Weeks and the tabernacle right here that it was speaking of, and this blessing, but this sternness came to Israel to help them, to the ones who were obedient. Okay, now we're going to go to Acts chapter 1, verse 1 to 26. Yeah. Acts chapter 1 to 26. The former treaties have I made, O Theophilus, of all that Yahushua began both to do and teach, unto the day in which he was taken up, after that he, through the Ruach HaKodesh, had given commandments unto the apostles, whom he had chosen, to whom also he showed himself alive after his passion by many inflammable proofs. Inflammable proofs. That means three unmistakable proofs, being seen of them 40 days, and speaking of the things pertaining to the kingdom of Yah, and being assembled together with them, commanded them that they should not depart from Jerusalem, but wait for promise of Abba, which said he, ye have heard of me. For John truly baptized with water, but ye shall be baptized with the Ruach HaKodesh not many days hence. So he's setting them up. Hey man, just like in Exodus 23, something's coming. Verse 6. When they therefore, and a lot of them in Egypt, when they was in the wilderness, they wanted to leave, they wanted to part. I mean, we're going back to Egypt. Yeah. And the power, you gotta, hey, wait with me, and we all good. If you depart, you're gonna lose it. The opportunity.
They wanted the meat pots.
Yeah, meat pots.
Yeah, because if they were doing the way they were doing them then, they'll probably give them the same thing now.
And that's when you show your true loyalty to, your true love. You know what I'm saying? That's why the scriptures say, thou hast departed from thy first love. You know what I'm saying? And that's when you walk the realms of being a reprobate, the Most High just casting you off. You know what I'm saying? It ain't no divorce, man. It's just, we done. We ain't no, I'm going to wait until they return. Nah, we done. We done. So they're being told to wait for something that's coming, the Ruach HaKodesh. Verse 6, when they therefore were come together, they asked of him, saying, Mashiach, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel? And he said unto them, it is not for you to know the time or seasons which Abba hath put in his power. So this is a side note that the kingdom is going to be restored to Zion. A lot of people overlook this. Like the kingdom is going back to the 12 tribes of Israel, and the world, all the nations are going to be treated fair and in righteousness. But these Israelites know what's theirs. They said, because this is ours, will it come back to us? So and a lot of people overlook that. Like everybody's going to be a kingdom for Israel. The kingdom is being given back to Israel. And all the nations are going to benefit on that. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe.
No, it will.
Maybe. Because some nations ain't going to want to accept.
Oh, yeah. The ones that don't accept, they're going to be killed. Don't worry about it. When the scriptures say he coming back to rule with a rod of iron, ain't going to be no, either you're with it or you're not, And that's just the evil in them, though, the nations that don't want to do that, because you're going to have, everywhere is going to be blessings, It's going to be much, it's going to be fruitful, So everybody's going to have as much blessings as the next person. So if anybody who don't like that, you're just a child of the devil, we're going to escort you out of here. For sure. We're going to escort you out of here. You're going to go with your family in hell. You're definitely not going to be up here. And he said unto them, it is not for you to know the times or seasons which the Abba hath put in his own power, but ye shall receive power after the Ruach HaKodesh come upon you, and ye shall be witness unto me both in Jerusalem and in all Judea and in Samaria and unto the uttermost parts of the earth. And when he had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. And while they looked steadfastly towards heaven as he went up, behold, two men stood by them in white apparel, which also said, Ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? I'm like, man, because I just seen my Mashiach just roll up and fly up there. Like, man, can I have a moment of shock? The angel's like, man, it ain't nothing, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, which also said, Ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? This same Yahushua HaMashiach, which is taken up from you into heaven, shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven. Then returned they unto Jerusalem from the mount called Olivet, which is from Jerusalem a Shabbat day journey. And when they were come in, they went up into an upper room. So this is the disciples that saw Yahushua Mashiach go into the clouds, which was not all the disciples at this time, where abode Peter and James and John, Andrew, Philip, Thomas, Bartholomew, Matthew, James, the son of Alphaeus, and Simon, Zelotes, and Judas, the brother of James. So the other 12 disciples are in there. These all continued with one accord in prayer and supplication with the women and Mary, the mother of Yahusha, and with his brethren. So they went there. They all in this one spot, and mainly because they were told to go here, and the Spirit led them right there. And in those days, verse 15, and in those days Peter stood up in the midst of the disciples and said, the number of names together were about 120. So there's about 120 people in this believers in this particular location. Men and brethren, this scripture must need have been fulfilled, which the Ruach HaKodesh by the mouth of David spake before concerning Judas. So Judas is in Psalms 109, that evil servant, which was guide to them that took Yahusha, for he was numbered with us, and had obtained part of this ministry. Now this man purchased a field with the reward of iniquity, and falling headlong, he burst asunder in the midst, and all his bowels gushed out. A lot of people don't read about that before the Holy Spirit came upon them out. I ain't never heard no church talk about that.
Oh, I heard it, and in Charlotte.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I don't hear too many churches talk about, this right before the Ruach HaKodesh come. That just happened with Jezebel when she got thrown off the tower. Her blood and guts splattered all over the wall, and the dogs came and ate her up.
Yeah.
That's the same thing, kind of what happened to Judas. Now, and it was known unto all the dwellers at Jerusalem, in so much as that field is called in their proper tongue Dama, that is to say, the field of blood. So I assume that when Judas got that money, he was going to buy a field. He had it all planned out. He going to grow some cucumbers.
No, he was going to be a property owner.
Okay, property owner, however he was going to do it, you know what I'm saying? Probably give some first fruits from it, you know what I'm saying?
He wouldn't have got no fruit from it.
Curse, curse.
He done killed the Mashiach.
Yeah.
Where you going to get from? There's no blessing coming from that.
Ain't nothing.
Well, he got his blessing. His rich people deserve blessing.
Verse 20, for it is written in the book of Psalms, let his habitations be desolate, and let no man dwell therein. And his bishop let another take the position that he was in, let another take, because he got to be replaced, because he was one of the 12 disciples. Wherefore, of these men which have company with us all the time that Yahushua HaMashiach went in and out among us, being from the baptism of John unto the same day that he was taken up from us, must one be ordained to be witness with us of his resurrection. And they appointed two, Joseph called Barnabas, who was surnamed Justus, and Matthias, and they prayed and said, Thou Elohim, which knowest the hearts of all men, show whether of these two thou hast chosen, that he may take part of this ministry and apostleship, from which Judas by transgression fell, that he might go to his own place. And they gave forth their lots, and the lot fell upon Matthias, and he was numbered with the 11 apostles. And when I read this also, to give out everybody know, Paul wasn't the apostle. Paul wasn't part of the 12 apostles.
No, he wasn't.
But a lot of people don't know about Matthias. You know what I'm saying? So that's interesting right there.
Paul was a persecutor of them until he found out the blind and road to Damascus.
Got his mind right.
Right.
Now we're going to go to chapter 2, 1 to 47. And when the day of Pentecost was fully come, they were all with one accord in one place, and suddenly there came a sound from heaven as a rushing mighty wind, and it filled all the house where they were sitting. And there appeared unto them cloven tongues like as a fire, and it sat upon each of them. And they were all filled with the Ruach HaKodesh, and began to speak with other tongues, as the Spirit gave them utterance. And there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men out of every nation under heaven, because they came for the feast day. And, a lot of people misunderstand this. They think this was Gentiles that came at this particular moment, but this was Hebrews that were just staying in Arabia, in Mesopotamia. They were just coming because, they Hebrew Israelites, and they got a command to keep the feast days. Wherever you are, you got to come there. Now, when this was noised abroad, the multitude came together and were confounded, because that every man heard them speak in his own language. So some of them spoke in Greek, some of them were speaking in Mesopotamia, some of them were speaking in Arabia, some of them were speaking in other dialects. Because, just like there's people in France, when they come over here, they speak in their, y'all might be the same nation, but, ain't no, get some directions from each other. That would be hard right there, you know what I'm saying? Now, when this was noised abroad, the multitude came together and were confounded, because that every man heard them speak in his own language. And they were all amazed and marveled, saying one to another, Behold, are not all these which speak Galileans? And how hear we every man in our own tongue, wherein we were born? Parthians and Medians and Medes and Elamites and the dwellers in Mesopotamia and in Judah and Cappadocia, in Pontus and Asia, Perga, and Pamphylia in Egypt. So they still had Hebrews down in Egypt. Yeah, man, we still chilling down here, you know what I'm saying? They growing melons down here,
Putting it on our foot.
But yeah, man, I call it home. It's home, though. It's home, though. We make it home, though.
It's better than living in Europe.
You know what I'm saying? So, they still have some Hebrews down out there. And in the part of Libya and Syria, and strangers of Rome, Jews and proselytes. Now, the proselytes, those were the people of the other nations, from my understanding. Cretes and Arabians. We do hear them speak in our tongue the wonderful works of Yah. And they were all amazed and were in doubt, saying one to another, What meaneth this? Others mocking said, These men are full of new wine. And we know what Hebrews was saying that. Probably the ones that were staying in Egypt. You know what I'm saying? Like the Nathans and the Korahs and all them, you know what I'm saying? Them type of Hebrews. 14. But Peter, standing up with the 11, lifted up his voice. And the 11, because Matthias is the new 12th apostle. But Peter, standing up with the 11, lifted up his voice and said unto them, Ye men of Judea, and all ye that dwell at Jerusalem, be this known unto you, and hearken to my words. For these are not drunken, as ye suppose, seeing it is but the third hour of the day. But this is that which was spoken by the prophet Joel. And it shall come to pass in the last days, saith Yah, I will pour out of my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your young man shall see visions, and your old man shall dream dreams. And on my servants and on my handmaidens I will pour out in those days of my spirit, and they shall prophesy. And I will show wonders in heaven above, and signs in the earth beneath, blood and fire and vapor of smoke. The sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood, before that great and notable day of Elohim come. And it came, and it shall come to pass, that whosoever shall call on the name of Elohim shall be saved. Ye men of Israel, hear these words. Yahusha of Nazareth, a man approved of Yah among you by miracles and wonders and signs which Yah did by him in the midst of you, as ye yourselves also know. Him being delivered by the determinate counsel and foreknowledge of Yah, ye have taken, and by wicked hands have crucified and slain, whom Yah hath raised up, having loosed the bands of death, because it was not possible that he should be holden of it. David spoken concerning him, I foresaw the El always before my face, for he is on my right hand, that I should not be moved. Therefore did my heart rejoice, and my tongue was glad. Moreover also my flesh shall rest in hope. See, it's kind of hard for people to really understand how wonderful these events occurred, because at this particular time, everybody knew, once you die, man, I'm going to hell. I might be going to Abraham's bosom, but I'm still going to die. And right now, people, not really understanding how joyful they were feeling. You know what I'm saying? Because once you get a gift, okay, a new car, somebody give you a new car, like, okay. At first time, you're like, oh, yeah. And then you give that same car to your grandchild, they're like, okay, what you giving me a 20-year-old car for, you know what I'm saying? Like,
it beats walking.
You know what I'm saying? They don't feel the joy that, hey, man, you've been walking, for 5 years, there to and fro back to work, and somebody gave you a car, you all happy, and that's how they was right here. And that's why we need to remember the connection of what really occurred, of why they're so joyous. You know what I'm saying? Therefore, because David right here says in 25, I foresaw El always before my face, for he is on my right hand, I should not be moved. Therefore did my heart rejoice, and my tongue was glad. Moreover also my flesh shall rest in hope. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, most people got to be in hell to really understand the benefit of the light. You know what I'm saying? I didn't notice it. You just walk past it all day until you get put in a situation. Now everything's clear. Get me out of this situation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Verse 27. Because thou wilt not leave my soul in hell, neither wilt thou suffer thine Holy One to see corruption, which was talking about Yahushua Mashiach.
He was taken up,
Mm-hmm.
and he didn't see
Mm-hmm.
the maggots and the worms coming out of his body, because he was taken up right there.
Mm-hmm.
So his body will be afresh.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he didn't have to go through those type of experiences. Hallelujah. 28. Thou hast made known to me the way of life. Thou shalt make me full of joy with thy countenance. Men and brethren, let me freely speak unto you of the patriarch David, that he is both dead and buried, and his sepulchre is with us unto this day. Therefore, being a prophet and knowing that Yah had shown with an oath to him that of the fruit of his loins, talking about his seed line, the children the children that would come from his seed line, that of the fruit of his loins, according to the flesh, he would raise up Yahusha to sit on his throne. He seen this before spoke of the resurrection of Yahusha, that his soul was not left in hell, neither his flesh did see corruption. This Yahusha hath Yah raised up, whereof we all are witness. Therefore, being by the right hand of Yah exalted, and having received of Abba the promise of the Ruach HaKodesh, he hath shed forth this which ye now see and hear. For David is not ascended into the heavens, but he saith himself, El said unto my Elohim, sit thou on my right hand, until I make thy foes thy footstool. Therefore, let all the house of Israel know assuredly that Yah hath made that same Yahusha, whom ye have crucified, both Yahusha HaMashiach. And now when they heard these, they were pricked in their heart, and said unto Peter and to the rest of the apostles, Men and brethren, what shall we do? Then Peter said unto them, Repent and be baptized, every one of you, in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach, for the remission of sins, and ye shall receive the gift of Ruach HaKodesh. Hallelujah. For the promise is unto you, and to your children, and to all that are afar off, meaning like the Israelites that were in Mesopotamia, Asia, and Egypt. They still are given these promises. They're still attached to the promises. For the promise is unto you, and to your children, and to all that are afar off, even as many as Elohim our Yah shall call. And with many other words did he testify and exhort, saying, Save yourselves from this upward generation. Then they that gladly received his word were baptized, and the same day there were